All right, Pilates that is, we likes to Pilates. You ready? You need to know that joke if you're my age. All right, so we are going to do rolling like a ball, single leg stretch, double leg stretch, J curve scissors. Those for sure, and I think I'm going to throw seated forward stretch in there today. So what I'm going to do each week, I'm doing like 3 or 4. And then I'm going to start the week with the transition or the last exercise from the last week. So last week we finished at rolling like a ball. So we're going to start from rolling like a ball today. And so remember when we did roll like a ball, we did all of this stuff to get into this shape. We practiced pulling our knees in and getting our head tucked in tight. And the exercise itself would have been heels together, scoop your body into a C curve, wrapping at your sit bones, and you're rolling, 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 rolling. Okay, so that's the end of rolling like a ball. So, single leg stretch. You're going to straighten one leg, okay, and you're pulling the other leg in towards you. Now notice I went from the knee being externally rotated. Yeah, externally rotated. I'm doing an internal rotation, and I'm pulling my toe, my ankle, my knee in one straight line. Okay, and so this kind of train track of the legs right up to the femur, that is a critical part of this exercise. Okay, so I'm going to go into it and do like 3, and then I'm going to show workshop on how you work to it. So I literally press forward and I roll to my shoulder blades are just floating off the floor. So I'm scooping here to do this. My rib cage, I pull my lower ribs together. Now, I'm not crunching myself forward. I'm actually reaching long through this is my pelvis, this is the top of my hips, and this is the bottom of my ribs. So it's not this muscle crunching, this one is long. These come in, and I'm trying to J curve my body forward. So it's a special feeling where you press your low back into the mat. And then I find my knee and my hip and my toe in one straight line. Okay, so you can start the feeling best with this leg on the floor. Look how I press that leg into the floor. And so it's called single leg stretch. So there's a stretch here and also a stretch here. So a good way to work on the stretch is for you guys to feel this. Like if you can work, like you may have to like come around and grab it or come around and grab it, but you're gonna grab your heel and you're going to pull, and that's the stretch of single leg stretch, this action right here, okay? So that's where you're trying to get to, but in the exercise you only have to grab your ankle and your knee, and so you're pulling them in. Look at my arms, okay? Like my arms are working really, really hard to pull it all the way in and close the space, and I'm scooping, trying to get my head forward, okay? And so that single leg stretch, okay? So your first times through this exercise, I actually would encourage you to do this stretch, okay? Honestly, even this stretch, and notice I'm not straightening my hamstring. I'm actually just working on the connection to my arm. So I'm holding here so I can feel the strength, and I'm pulling at the same time. So it's not the stretch that I'm working on, it's the strength of holding the shape. Strength of the shape, strength of the shape, strength of the shape, right? So you're practicing finding your powerhouse and hip muscles and having them hold the shape while the limbs do what you want, okay? So single leg stretch, initially, honestly, 5, 6 sets per side. When you get good, it's 10 and the whole thing goes on and on, but let's just do 5. So it'll be like switching. 1, 2, 2. That's my 3rd rep, right? So that's the pace, okay? I'm scooping as I pull. I'm reaching that other leg away, and I'm working to hold everything in the center line, and my knees and my thighs cross past each other as they switch, okay? That single leg stretch. And spending your time practicing pulling that knee into the armpit is so important, so beneficial for the exercise. Okay, double leg stretches next. It is a
different version of the exercise, and the change totally changes what you have to be able to do. So in this one, okay, the thing I want you guys to get good at first is the positioning of your legs. We call this tabletop, where your toes are pointed, your toes are touching, your heels are touching, your knees are touching, and your shins are parallel to the floor. Okay, so that's your start position. And so I put my hands on top of the table, and I scoop and I pull myself up. So that's me finding my J curve. And then I lock it in by squeezing my glutes. Okay, the easy version I want you guys to work on first is reaching with the legs and the arms, holding this J curve, finding your glutes as you pull it back in, catch the table to hold yourself. Reach and press, everything, squeezing. This is Pilates stance for the legs. You're pushing legs to straight. Now you're going to hold the tailbone down, squeeze the glutes together, and hold into the J curve as you return. So that's the work, right? Here's my J curve. Working hard to hold my J curve. Working harder to hold it there as I pull myself back in.
If you rest in between these, I want you to work on resting from tabletop. I want you to feel how much work it is to keep the toes and the heels together. Like, you're going to want to display and blah, 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 just let it all out. But the practice of Pilates and the scoop is about the center. And so the more you work on feeling strong and relaxed here, because if your knees are touching, you're working, okay? And so if you can catch your breath while working, I want this to be an easy place of work where it's not work, it's work, but it's not work for you anymore. That's what we're trying to get to, okay? So next is J curve scissors. I was gonna remember, don't you worry about that. Okay, your legs go to straight. And so we talked about this in single leg stretch. To straighten our legs, we must externally rotate, okay? If I try to keep my legs parallel and push to straight, I only have my quads really to help me. So to get the rest of this muscle, I've got to use this hip that pulls, and I've got to wrap and press, and that's how I reach. And so Pilates stance is really, really important. The idea of your heels are touching and your toes are not, and you're working hard for straight legs. So scissors are balanced. So if this leg goes forward 1 inch, this leg goes back 1 inch. Okay, and that's the motion that you're working on. In fact, if the version I give you was hard, you could practice like this in the start. This is flat scissors. We did this one earlier, remember? Kick, 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 kick. Okay, that would be an easy version. Or, so in the scissors, your work is keeping this front leg straight. So even if you did a stretch version, if you were grabbing below the knee at the thigh, you've got to push back into that thigh and find a straight leg. Okay, these are your regressed versions of this exercise if it's too much for you to get into. The one you're trying to, what I want you guys to do is grab the calf and then push for straight, sacrum's down, and it's going to be pull, pull, switching sides. Push and reach, pull, pull, switching sides. Pull, pull, switching sides. Pull, pull, switching sides. Okay? So, Pilates as an exercise is very mentally challenging. Like, you have every reason that you want to not push to the range or try to straighten your leg or get your shoulder blades off the mat. And you know, you guys are taking a very interesting path because you are, we as a community are trying to hold you accountable, but you as a person, your accountability is coming not just when you do it, but when you're in the action, you're going through the body checks, and you're always pushing for straight. Okay, and so that's important, okay, in the AB 5 series. I know we've done 3 of the 5. We did single leg stretch, we did double leg stretch, we did scissors. And in each one of those versions of the exercise, your leg has to straighten to stretch. Okay? Stretching, straightening is the other end of stretching, and it will help you pull in deeper. Okay, we're doing seated stretch next week. You guys got plenty to work on for this week. Pilates, baby!